All right. Shalom, Ahab, Wa, Baraka. First and foremost, call Layim, Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Kakodash. And double honors to the 1/3 that the Most High is going to receive. And to everybody else. Anyways, let's get into it. We're going to read, and let me speak up, or you won't be able to hear me that well. Grab my glasses. All right. There we go. The ones. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to read Isaiah, the chapter 66. Isaiah chapter 66. And let's get right into it. What we got here? Isaiah chapter 66, starting from the top. And it reads, Thus saith Yahweh, the heaven is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. Where is the house that ye build unto me? Where is the place of my rest? Now, the house we build for him is when we build our temple, when we get our own house in order. So, because he can't dwell within sin. So, when you remove, the sin from your life, and you go back into righteousness, how they say a 7 falls 7 times and then get back up again. So, in other words, this 1/3 that's going to be saved, you're the ones right now at this time that are building that temple by coming back to the truth. That 100% truth to the laws. That's right, the laws. To the best of your ability, according to your knowledge. Applying what you learned in your life, the things that you know that we're able to do in this society. Okay? Don't get it twisted. Verse 2. For all those things hath mine hand made, and all those things have been said, have been said, saith Yahweh, Salaki. But to this man but to this man will I look, even to him that is poor and of a contrite spirit, and trembleth at my word. So the meek, the righteous, and the meek are the ones that are for all those things hath mine hand made. Everything is made for who? It says the poor and of contrite spirit, and trembleth at my word. So when I was just telling you in verse 1, coming back to that truth, the people that fear the Most High's word follow his instructions. I've been using this ever since I started teaching. If you're going to use GPS, are you in fear of what's going to happen if it tells you to make a left in the middle of nowhere and you make a right? You're like, oh man, I don't know where I'm going now. Oh no, we lost reception. GPS went out. What do we do now? Oh no. I'm just saying though, you guys will follow GPS to the T because you don't want nothing to go wrong. But if you feared the Most High's words, you would follow what he said to the T because you don't want nothing to go wrong. That's all. So, verse 3. He that killeth an ox is as if he slew a man. He that sacrifices a lamb as if he cut off a dog's neck. He that offereth an oblation as if he offered the swine's blood. He that burneth incense, as if he blessed an idol. Yea, they have chosen their ways, and their souls delighteth in their abominations. So all of their sacrifices, like they were talking about when they used when Yahushua became the sacrifice, and they took away the daily sacrifice. Listen to what the daily sacrifice was like. Again, it said if he was killing the ox, and it was like if he slew a man. And if he sacrificed a lamb, it was as he cut off a dog's neck. He that offereth an oblation, as if he offereth swine's blood. They're not doing it right. They're doing it in a wicked way. And that's what I was talking about. He that burneth incense, as if he blessed an idol. Yea, they have chosen their own ways. Why are they doing it like this? Because they chose their own ways. We're only here to teach. And then we're going to have to follow this truth to the best of our ability according to our knowledge. So you've got to be very careful in these last days. You've got to be very careful, because these people are choosing their own ways, and their soul delighteth in their abominations. Now, I'm going to get off the subject just a little bit for a second, because it tells you what happens. It tells you what type of people desire their own ways. And so you go into the book of Titus, and you want to start at chapter 1 and go to verse 10. And it says, for there are many unruly and vain talkers and deceivers, especially they of the circumcision, our own people, because it's our people doing the sacrifices wrong and doing it their own way, so they can, in other words, let's call that sacrifice teaching. They're teaching wrong. They're doing it their own way for their own gain. And when you go back over here to verse 10, like I said, there are many unruly and vain talkers and deceivers, especially they of the circumcision. Verse 11, whose mouths must be stopped, who subvert whole houses, teaching things which they ought not, for filthy lucre's sake. Right? So we know for a fact that if you study it all, lucre actually means money. Okay? And if you're talking about subverting whole houses, to subvert means to destroy. They destroyed your entire house. You personally, your own temple, and physically anybody else that you are that's connected to you, that you start teaching that same lie to. So they destroy entire houses, teaching things which they ought not, for dirty money. Now let's go back over to Isaiah 66. So those are the people that are going to, according to Isaiah, they like what they're doing. They like being in. Let me read it directly. They have chosen their own ways, and their souls delighteth in their abominations. So they're happy with what they're doing. They think that taking from the children of Israel for lies, for a feel-good message, for filthy and dirty money, that's their abominations. Let's keep reading. Verse 4. I also will choose their delusions, and will bring their fears upon them. Because when I called, none did answer. When I spake, they did not hear. But they did evil before my eyes, and chose that which I delighteth not. And since we're talking about a certain type of people that delighteth in their own ways, and the Most High is saying, I don't really like what you're doing. What do you think they were doing? I'll show you exactly what they were doing. They're doing it to this day. They're doing the same thing now that they were doing back then. So I'm gonna break it down like this. Matthew 6 and go to verse 24. No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will love, or he will hold to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon. You cannot serve Yahweh and money. It's telling you that. And so he's saying, like, this is your abomination. This is what you delight in. You delight in serving money. So he's going to deal with you, though. That's the thing. And and somebody asked me that yesterday. So they asked, because I answered a question in a certain way, and they're saying, so what you're saying is the God of this time is money. And I was like, yes. Like Baal. What does Baal represent? Money and greed, the golden calf. Give me a break, people. Of course you worship money. And then there's a few. That's one of the many gods that people worship in this day, because you also worship a female goddess of fertility. Her name is Ishtar. Easter. So you guys got a lot of gods you worship, but that's neither here nor there. I was just saying. It came up today. If somebody in a comment, somebody was asking me if that's what I meant, and so I gave them some scriptures. Is what I did, and finished it with Matthew 24 and 66, because they actually mentioned the word mammon. Back to it though. So now we know what abominations that they delight in. They like to do things for dirty money. And the Most High is telling them that they do evil before mine eyes, and choose that in which I delighted not. Because why? They're worshiping money over the Father, who is the Creator. That's like I worship the preacher more than the Creator. So it all plays out the same. They worship money over the Most High. You got to watch out for that. You get caught up in that trap. Everybody gets caught up in that trap once you want to start making sure. And it tells you a man that doesn't take care of his children is an infidel. And if a man and a woman are together, it says, let no man tear asunder what I've put together. That's going directly into marriage. So you got to stand strong with your family. Stand strong with your family first and foremost. That's the first delight that the Most High would have in his eyes if you were getting your house in order. But moving on. So let's go. So let's get back into it before I get off the subject. So like I said, they did evil before in the Most High's eyes, and they did that which he delighteth not in. And like I was telling you, you guys have multiple gods, but one of your gods is money, and you guys love money. In fact, that's the main god right now that everybody worships, is the god of the golden calf. So, but moving on, verse 5. Hear the word of Yahweh, ye that tremble at his word. So who's going to hear that word? The people that fear him, that would follow his instructions. Okay? Your brethren that hate you, that cast you out of out for my name's sake. Those brothers that cast you out for my name's sake, said, let Yahweh be glorified, but he shall appear to your joy. You guys hear that? And they shall be ashamed. Let me read that to you guys again. Verse 5. Your brethren that hated you, that cast you out for my name's sake, said, let Yahweh be glorified, but he shall appear to your joy, and they shall be ashamed. They shall be ashamed. Verse, and that's beautiful. So all the people, like, I mean, to be honest, to break it down properly, the people that wrongfully and unjustly treated you a certain way, and then gave glory to the Most High, just like they did when they tried to crucify Yahushua and all the prophets. I mean, if that's what's the Most High saying, like the people that treated you wrong and lied on your name and then did it and then glorified my name over it, glory be to Yahweh. They're gonna be the ones that are actually in shame at the end. And you know what? It's always best, what does it say? If any wise possible, be peaceable with all men. And that's talking about not only the other nations, because you want to make it home at night, but your own brothers too. That's why when you go into I think it's Leviticus, it tells you that if you really love your brother, you'll rebuke him, and suffer not sin upon him. But it also tells you to hold your peace. Now, if the brother thinks that he rebukes you, and then you just take it and hold your peace because you see how he feels, I say that's the best way to go. Because a soft answer also drives away strife. There's only a certain amount of things you can do or say, but most people aren't going to believe you anyway. Back to it, though. I love that. Let Yahweh be glorified, but he shall appear to your joy, and they shall be ashamed. Let me make sure this thing's still on. Yes. All right. A voice of noise from the city, a voice from the temple, a voice from Yahweh that rendereth recompense to his enemies. Before she travailed, she brought forth. Before her pains came, she was delivered of a man-child. Who hath heard such a thing? Who hath seen such a thing? Shall the earth be made to bring forth in one day? Do you guys understand that? Let me finish it though. Or shall a nation be born at once? For as soon as Zion travailed, she brought forth her children, not child, her children. So to bring forth the children means to deliver. So listen carefully. Let me break this down for you guys, because I don't think anybody understands quite what the Bible says these days. I've been listening, and we all have. It just doesn't seem like everybody understands. Before she was in pain, before she brought forth, before those pains came, she delivered a man-child. Who hath heard such a thing? Shall the earth be made to bring forth in one day? So, how is it? Was the earth made in a day? No, it took a minute. It wasn't just overnight, in other words. It wasn't just a snap of a finger. It wasn't instant gratification. Or shall it be a nation be born at once? No. A nation is like we become a nation. We become a power. We become that strength. And the only way that happens is when the Most High gives us back the power, the strength, and that righteousness. Remember how does it go? I don't want to mess it up, so let me. The stony heart has to put on the stony heart and put on the fleshly heart. Yeah, I wasn't saying it right. Ezekiel 36 and 26. I thought it was in 33. That's why I wanted to try to say it. So what I was talking about though is, we need to go to Ezekiel 36. Ezekiel chapter 36, KJV. There it is. It's saying, like I said, yeah, I don't want to mess it up, so I'm just gonna read this and get back to it. Though it says, I'm gonna have to start at 24. For I will take you from among the heathen and gather you out of the countries. I will bring you into your own land. Then I will sprinkle clean water upon you, and ye shall be clean from all your filthiness, and from all your idols will I cleanse you. A new heart, mine also will I give you. A new spirit will I put within you, and I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I will give you a heart of flesh. And I will put my spirit within you, and cause you to walk in my statutes, and ye shall keep my judgments and do them. So that's what I was talking about. We have right now our minds, we're hard-headed, stony heart. What's a stone? It's a block. So we're hard-headed right now, and he's going to get rid of that and put the righteousness back in us. Back to it though. For a voice of noise from the city, a voice from the temple, a voice from Yahweh that rendereth recompense to his enemies. So we're going right back to it. Verse 7, before she travailed, before she was in pain, she brought forth, before her pain came, she delivered a man-child. Who hath heard such a thing? Who hath seen such a thing? Shall the earth be made to bring forth in a day? And shall a nation be born at once? No, we've got to get rid of that stony heart, put on the fleshy heart. The nation is going to have to be in righteousness. So things are going to have to happen a little different this time. That's why they say this Exodus, like when Yahweh returns to save us this time, it's going to overshadow everything that we ever remembered. So, back to it though. Or shall a nation be born at once? For as soon as Zion travailed, she brought forth her children. Shall I bring to the birth and not cause to bring forth, saith Yahweh? Shall I cause to bring forth and not shut the womb, saith Yahweh? And shall I cause to bring forth and shut the womb? You understand what he's saying? So I put you through all of this trials, these tribulations, this travail, this pain, and not deliver you at the end? Just gonna, forget it. No. We just gotta, Matthew 24:13. He that endure until the end, the same shall be saved. He that endure until the end, the same shall be saved. And outside out there, it's been pretty bad lately. These people, you hear about the Edomites. I'm not going to say Israelites, because I know some so-called white people out here in Arizona that be in the sun all day long, and they're not getting cooked. But there's some Edomites out there right now that are really getting cooked. We've been having a heat wave over here in Arizona pretty bad. A real bad heat wave. And let me show you guys. But in other states, of course, not just in Arizona, there's been some really bad heat waves going on. Let's see what we could. Here we go. Let's see it right here. Let me make sure. I'm just going to show you what they look like. This is a fair use video according to the copyright laws of 1976. So fair use, copyright laws of 1976. So it's just showing that these people are getting cooked right now, and this is just a taste of what's going to happen to you guys. And these aren't just like this girl. She said, I went outside for 2 hours. I'm cooked. So you guys get the picture. And like I said, these are the Edomites. These aren't Israelites. You come out here to Arizona, you'll see some things that you never thought you would see before. There's a lot of so-called white people that are just walking the streets out here that are not getting sunburned at all. It's kind of interesting. But these people will walk into the sun and they'll just instantly catch fire. And that's the spirit right now. The Most High is giving you a taste of what's coming next. He's letting you see what's getting ready to happen to you. And that was just a little taste. There was a woman that came online and said that she keeps saying so-called white people, but I'm sorry, it's not so-called white people, it's you Edomites. She should have said Edomites, you Edomites, because we got Israelites that are so-called white people, and I see them in the camps all the time. They're not getting cooked. They're not part of the heat wave somehow. They're making it through. A bunch of so-called white people out here. So you Edomites, when you walk outside, the Most High is showing you how it's about to go down. You walk outside and practically start to melt. And it's going to happen. So, I'm just letting you know. He's giving you a precursor of what is going to happen to you next. Because it's just starting. He just put the oven on preheat, and you guys started literally just. And I just showed you guys like a little tiny taste of. There's a bunch of videos. You might want to look them up. There's a bunch of videos right now of the so-called I'm just gonna call them Edomites. These Edomites are getting cooked, and that's all there is to it. They walk out in the sun, they're passing out, all kinds of stuff. But mostly their skin is just like literally just flaking, like ooh, swelling. The eyes were swelling shut, getting big, just very, very dangerous. Most High ain't playing. So, and remember, it said that Israel, we were going to be judged first, but there was going to be a point where our judgment was up, and we were going to see our enemies be judged, and then after the judgment on our enemies, while we're watching them be judged, while their judgment's coming, while we're watching their judgment, it says then we're going to be saved, but we're going to watch them get destroyed. And the Most High said, nothing's going to happen to you, but it's going to be pretty dangerous. It's going to feel pretty scary out there in these coming days. Fear not. Didn't he tell you that? Fear not. There's going to be a point where he's going to be putting you right under the wing of protection. So, going back into it, verse 10. Rejoice ye with Jerusalem, and be glad with her, all ye that love her. Rejoice for joy with her, all ye that mourn for her. And that's talking about that 1/3. That's in this day and age, this prophecy only relates to the 1/3. Everybody else, you're doomed. I mean, that's all we can say. That's all I can tell you. You're doomed at this point. I don't even understand how anybody that says they're this, that, and the third is actually coming into the truth. Because everybody's put their line in the sand. That's all there is to it. Verse 11. Ye that may suck and be satisfied with the breast of her consolations, that ye may milk out and be delighted with the abundance of her glory. Ooh, so let me read it again. Verse 10 and 11 together. Rejoice ye with Jerusalem and be glad with her, all ye that love her. Rejoice for joy with her, all ye that mourn for her, that ye may suck and be satisfied with the breast of her consolations, that ye may milk out and be delighted with the abundance of her glory. In this day and age, only the 1/3 are actually coming to this truth. Only the 1/3 is this. And I challenge anybody to say that they're getting in the kingdom and they're saved and they can show me how they can prove it. but I'm gonna give you some rules. If you celebrate Mother's Day, Father's Day, Halloween, Easter, Thanksgiving, Christmas, your birthday, or anybody else's birthdays, or any other weird day like St. Patrick's Day, or any of those stupid holidays that are made up by man, I despise your feast days. Null and void. Move on. Go to somebody that believes you. Anybody else, if you can get past that, then we'll see. But you've got to accept the whole role. That's what the scriptures say. You got to eat the whole book. In other words, you got to accept every part of this book. That proves you're an Israelite. You've got to be able to follow the instructions. In other words, it says that Yahweh Shai was a so-called black man. And you go, oh no, my Jesus is like this. Well, now you're out too. Only Israel can be saved. No, all nations can be saved. You're out too. So I'm telling you guys, you ain't gonna win. You're not gonna win with this truth. You're not gonna win. So anyway, let's go back into it. Verse 12. For thus saith Yahweh, behold, I will extend peace to her like a river, and the glory of the Gentiles like a flowing stream. Then shall ye suck. Ye shall be borne upon her sides, and be dandled upon her knees. Okay? It's only talking about Israel. The Gentiles were Hellenized Israelites that didn't know who they were or knew who they were, and they had to live a different culture. I'm an Israelite. I know who I am. I have to live in this different culture. I don't get to live the way the real Israelites lived because it's been removed. Moving on. So, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Isaiah 66 and 13. As one whom his mother comforteth, so will I comfort you, and ye shall be comforted in Jerusalem. And when ye see this, your heart shall rejoice, and your bones shall flourish like an herb. And the hand of Yahweh shall be known towards his servants, and his indignation towards his enemies. You see that? So the Most High started. I was just telling you guys how he was cooking. I even showed you a little video. I said he just put the oven on preheat, and you guys are already doomed. Man, I need this thing to hold my own. Okay, so. Like I said, he just put the oven on preheat, and you guys are already doomed. So let's read that again. 14. When ye see this, your heart shall rejoice. And what are we rejoicing from? When he extends peace like a river, and the glory to the Hellenized Israelites like a flowing stream. Then shall ye suck. Ye shall be borne upon her sides, and be dandled upon her knees. As one whom his mother comforteth, so will I comfort you. So that's what our hearts are going to rejoice in. And your bones shall flourish like an herb, and the hand of Yahweh shall be known towards his servants, and his indignation towards his enemies. And herbs are like the weeds outside. A lot of the weeds that, like out here in the desert, a lot of the stuff that most people think are wild weeds and bushes are actually herbs and different types of sages and stuff. And they grow fast and they flourish, poof, 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 all over the place. Like barely any water, all of a sudden there's beautiful green herbs everywhere. So it said that we would flourish like that, okay? We would, and so in other words, we would grow strong and powerful quickly. And this part's really important too. And the hand of Yahweh shall be known towards his servants. So he's going to let everybody know pretty soon who his real servants are. And he's going to let, and like you guys over there, that like in certain people in the how would you say it, like there's camps that are pretty wicked, and I'm just not going to be saying any names about anybody, but because there's people that are going to either start secretly keeping the truth in the other camps, or they're going to leave the other camps, or they're just not part of the 1/3. So, but the one thing about those other camps, he said this, remember this, I will also choose their delusions and will bring their fears upon them, because when I called, none did answer. When I spake, they did not hear, but they did evil before mine eyes, and they trembled. And I'm sorry, and they when I called, let me start over. That wasn't the one I wanted to read anyway. Verse 5 is which one I wanted to read, Salakia. But it said that my hand will be known towards my servants, and my indignation towards my enemies. And when you go to verse 5, remember it says, hear the word of Yahweh, ye that tremble at his word, your brethren that hated you, that cast you out for my name's sake, said, let the Lord be glorified, but he shall appear to your joy, and they shall be ashamed. So his indignation is going to be known towards his enemies. His enemies are going to have to pay. And all of the Israelites that are humble, that are righteous, that fear his word, they're going to be the ones that are the ones that the Lord shall be known towards his servants, and his indignation towards his enemies. So when you start getting into it, it becomes pretty deep. It's not just one person. It becomes like all the other nations, with the Edomites on top of that, being the main people that need to be dealt with. And then he said, I'm going to deal with my own people first. I got to deal with Israel first, and then everybody else. So right now, he's turning up the heat. And you see it. In Europe, people are literally dropping dead because they don't have air conditioners. They don't understand how to put ice in a bucket. I don't even know if they have ice. I don't even think they have ice there. They were like, what is this ice? They were dead serious about that. No ice maker, nothing. So they don't have none of that stuff. They're dropping dead. Out here, we're having a heat wave. We're in the house. It's like 116 degrees outside right now, at least. I don't know about the heat index, but I know when I take my thermometer outside, it goes up to about 120 before I walk back inside. It's just too hot, man. You just stand outside for a few minutes, and yeah, you start to feel that Arizona heat wave. I don't care what anybody says. Be out there sweating like you stole something. Probably, people from different states can't handle it. They probably just pass out. They'd be in the hospital. But anyway, speaking of, Speaking of all of you Edomites getting cooked in the direct sunlight, what did that lady say? She said that the so-called white people are going to need melanin shots to be able to be in the sun, in this new sun, this new future sun. I don't know what the sun did, but it's saying the new sun, this future sun, the Edomites can't survive in it. You guys are like vampires who can only come out at nighttime now. So verse 15, moving on, let's go to verse 15. For behold, Yahweh will come with fire. And please believe me, I'm telling you, he's only got it on preheat right now. He hasn't brought down the fire, the big, you guys watch, you'll see. He's coming with fire. He barely just turned the oven on a little bit and you guys are already cooked. But anyway, behold, the Lord will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury and his rebuke with flames of fire. And I'll be honest, everybody's been seeing the chariots, and it's been heating up lately. Just saying. But you're not cooked yet. You know how I know? Because you're just not. It's not the end yet, but it's gonna be. It's getting close. So let me show you how close it's getting. Verse 16, for by fire and by a sword Yahweh will plead with all flesh, and the slain of Yahweh shall be many. That's crazy. Now, back to you guys at the beginning that I was talking about, that destroy whole houses for filthy lucre's sake. Little quick interesting thing that I learned. When they go out into the groves, they would sneak out there to go worship their false gods, like the golden calf, but mainly back at that time, it was the goddess of fertility. So I told you, they were worshiping multiple gods. They were like the Egyptians. The Egyptians are the ones that had a god for each month of the year, like 12 gods or something like that. But back to it. So we know by fire and by a sword he's going to plead with all flesh. And the slain of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, shall be many. They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the garden behind one tree in the midst. That's the groves. Hiding out in the groves, the gardens, in the trees. Eating swine's flesh. Let's kill two birds with one stone right there. Let's go ahead and do it. You wicked 2/3 Israelite Jake motherfuckers out there telling us it's okay to eat swine's flesh when the Most High says I'm going to cook you for that. And the abomination and the mouse shall be consumed together. They are all going to be consumed together, saith the Lord. They're all going to be consumed together, saith the Lord. And it tells you in Zechariah 13:8, what does it say in Zechariah 13:8? And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith Yahweh, 2/3 therein shall be cut off and die, but 1/3 shall be left therein. So we know that 2/3 of you have got to die, but 1/3 is going to be left. That's what I saw. And I'm looking for something really important. Man, I thought I had it up, and I don't. Can't remember. Yeah, here it is. Because it said, he's going to come with this fire and with this sword, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. He's got his chariots out there too, right? I mean, we're hearing these things. And then those people that are hiding out in the groves worshiping false gods. I was just telling you in the beginning of the lesson that watch out for these false teachers, because the Most High is going to show them in the end. And they hated you for the truth. Remember that. So let's go over and find out some more of their, what we call it, consequences. So this is Zechariah 14:12. And this shall be the plague wherewith Yahweh will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. So all the people that have oppressed us throughout all these years, and that includes all you 2/3 Jakes too, because you've joined forces with other nations to oppress your own people, like that officer Tatum with the Nolan Wells case. Well, black people will be better off in slavery. A black person saying that? Man, you know that you're a slave master's porch monkey kid. Anyway, back to it. So, the Lord will strike all the people who fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall dissolve while they stand on their feet, and I will plead with wait, let me read that again. Their flesh shall dissolve while they stand on their feet. Their eyes shall dissolve in their sockets, and their tongues shall dissolve in their mouths. Their eyes shall dissolve in their sockets, and their tongues shall dissolve in their mouths. Okay? And so, and it says, for behold, Yahweh will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire. And for by fire and by his sword will Yahweh plead with all flesh, and the slain of Yahweh shall be many. And he's gonna, like, he literally told you that he's gonna burn you so hot that your eyes are gonna melt in the sockets. That's why I told you that little sunburn you're getting. That's just the oven's on. The oven's just on preheat. It's just preheat. That's all. It's a preheat oven. We haven't turned it up to 350 yet. It's gonna happen though. So anyway, verse 18. For I know their works and their thoughts. It shall come that I will gather all nations and tongues, and they shall come and see my glory. I already told you, you 2/3 are just like gotta get dealt with first. I will judge Israel first and the rest of the nations. You guys are all gonna see the glory. And while you're doing it, some of you are gonna have your eyes melt right in their sockets. And that's how you're gonna see his glory. You're gonna see his glory when your fucking eyes melt. Pardon my French. But anyway. Verse 19. And I will set a sign among them, and I will send those that escape unto the nations, to Tarshish, Pool, and Lud, to draw and bow to Tubal and Javan, to the isles afar off, that have not heard my fame, neither have seen my glory, and they shall declare my glory among the Gentiles. And they shall bring all your brethren for an offering unto Yahweh out of all nations upon horses and chariots, and in litters, and upon mules, and upon swift beasts, to my holy mountain Jerusalem, saith Yahweh. As the children of Israel bring an offering in a clean vessel into the house of the Lord. Okay? I want to bring out a couple more verses, because it said that let's go to Isaiah 14 KJV authorized. And what else did I want to get? Oh, I remember. The corruptible must put on incorruption. And there it is. That was what I was looking for. Okay, so check this out. Let's go to First Corinthians 15 KJV. First Corinthians 15 KJV authorized. Sorry, Slovakia. Okay, first of all, so, I want to get back over here to Isaiah just one more time, really quick. It said that that I shall declare my glory among the Gentiles, and then everybody will come on horses, chariots, litters, mules, swift beasts, to the holy mountain of Jerusalem, saith Yahweh, as the children of Israel bring an offering in a clean vessel. Did you hear that? In a clean vessel, into the house of the Most High, into the house of Yahweh. So, I want to get 1 Corinthians 15, and let's start at verse 51. This is us becoming that clean vessel to be worthy of an offering. Watch this. Verse 50. Now I say this, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of Yahweh, neither does corruption inherit incorruption. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. So for verse 53, for the corruptible must put on incorruption, and the mortal must put on immortality. Remember, I was telling you that earlier. So when the corruptible shall put on incorruption, and the mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that was written, death is swallowed up in victory. So when we come back to the 100% truth and we're able to keep all the laws the way Yahushua did, we'll be incorruptible and will be made immortal. The mortal must put on immortality. So I'm not making this up. I'm reading it directly from the Bible. So you got to know that. So now that we put on immortality, now that we've swallowed up death, now we can go over to Isaiah chapter 14, because now it's going to make sense. It says, for Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel. And you know, I'm looking for something really quick, but because we have to go over this real quick before somebody tries to say that this is only, you know what, I'm going to say it like this. Anybody that is trying to say that you can become a spiritual Israelite, why haven't any of the Jewish people received salvation? I mean, they're the very first people, Jewish, they converted. Remember, they were Khazars. They converted over to Judaism. Why haven't they been saved? There's nothing but war in Jerusalem. And it said that war won't stop until the Israelites go home. So can you explain to me why they're there? They're just taking land from people. But like I said, they're Jewish. They converted. So, and they'll even tell you that. So you can't say that you're a Christian and Jesus died for your sins and now you're saved, because that doesn't even make sense. Because if first of all, it tells you, this is why it doesn't make sense. Very simple. Matthew 24:13. He that endure until the end, the same shall be saved. So, you can't say that you're saved. Nobody's saved until the end. And then the ones that are going to be saved, will, especially the ones that have already died, they're going to be risen first, and then the ones that are right here, right now. You guys are going to all watch that. So, back to it. The ones that have died in Christ will be risen up first. And let's keep going, though, because what I wanted to bring out, now that we know that the corruptible puts on incorruption and the mortal has to put on immortality, but that's only pertaining to the children of Israel. And if you don't believe me, I mean, I can go all the way in with it. I mean, it literally tells you that all other nations are less than spit, less than a drop that falleth from a vessel. I only chose Israel. So you guys got to stop with all the bullshit and saying that you can just convert. That's not happening. No one's ever been able to convert. What did they say about conversion? He said, we're going to build a temple. The other day said, we want to help. We want to build a temple with you. And we said, no. What they do, they try to destroy the temple because deep inwardly they were wicked. So that's why we know that you can't say that you converted, because inwardly you're wicked. So back to it. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, will yet choose Israel, set them in their own land, and the stranger shall be joined with them, and shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of Yahweh, for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. There's another nail in the coffin. How are you guys going to convert and be our oppressor, but convert at the same time? Well, I was your oppressor. Now over here we equal. No, you're still the oppressor, and you've got to pay the price. So now that we understand like how the Most High is going to receive us, we also understand that the other nations are going to be judged with fire. It's beautiful. So they shall come to see my glory. And remember, he's going to show his glory. He's going to declare his glory among the Gentiles. So he's going to wake that last of the 1/3 up. Verse 20. And they shall bring all their brethren for an offering unto Yahweh out of all nations upon horses. You mean the Gentiles out of all the other nations? Okay. And in chariots, and in litters, upon mules, and upon swift beasts, to my holy mountain in Jerusalem, saith Yahweh, as the children of Israel bring an offering in a clean vessel. Remember that clean vessel? It's us being righteous again, then the Most High will yet choose Israel. A clean vessel unto the house of the Lord. And I will also take them for priests and for Levites, saith Yahweh, for as the new heavens and the new earth, which I will make, shall remain before me, saith Yahweh, so shall your seed and your name remain. And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith Yahweh. See that? And if you don't follow the Most High's laws in the kingdom, you will be put to death. And it tells you, and if you don't serve the Israelites as slaves, you will be put to death. That's just because we're going to be the ones that have an incorruptible mind, so we won't be able to be corrupted, so we won't have anything that's wicked around us. We'll be just like our Father again. So, and verse 24, one of my most favorite verses in the whole Bible. It says, they shall go forth and look upon the carcasses of the men that have transgressed against me, and their worm shall not die. Their spirits are never going to die. Jacob spoke of us as himself as a worm in the ground. So that worm shall never die, neither shall their fire be quenched, and they shall be an abhorring unto all flesh. So we're gonna go when we take back over rulership. When are you going to take over? When does it say that you guys are going to be taking over rulership? When does it say that? Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it thereafter. I'm sure everybody's heard this verse before. Probably not, because 2nd Ezra 6:9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. I mean, what a perfect way to end the class, right? Because from new moon to new moon, we're going to be going back to look at all the carcasses of the people that didn't follow the instructions. And remember all the years of going out, and like one of the brothers would always say at his classes, we risk our life and our freedom to be out here. And I mean, people out there get wicked, threatening to pull guns on you, threatening to pull knives, always yelling at you. No real kosher spirits out there, but it says that he finds our foolishness acceptable, because he knows that he can change somebody's heart, just like he could soften somebody's heart, just like he hardened the Pharaoh's heart. So, just saying, let's go ahead and close it out with this. Revelation 22:12. Behold, I come quickly, my reward is with me to give every man according as his work shall be. You're going to get repaid for these works you're doing. With that being said, if you got eyes to see and ears to hear, I hope you got something out of this message. Shalom.